I'd like to bring this meeting to order. We'll have our invocation offered by Mr. Glenn Lotzenheiser, followed by the pledge.
Okay, please bow your heads. Father, we just thank you for our school district, and we thank you for all the teachers and all the administrators who are working so hard to help our young people be successful. We ask your blessing upon our district, that you would enable and equip all of us, Father, to do our very best on behalf of the young people of our district. We ask you to bless our meeting tonight and bless all the work that we do going forward. And Father, I just pray for every person here tonight. I pray for every family that's represented, that you will watch over them and protect them. We ask you to bless our nation, especially those who are in leadership positions. And we pray for the men and women in the military, and we just ask that you would place your protection around them and bring them safely home to their families, Father. Now go with us and guide us in all that we do and all that we say, for we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
We'll have our pledge led by Mr. Ethan Connor, 5th grader at Fairview Elementary. Ethan?
Can everybody stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Salute. Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, in liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ethan. Thank everyone for being here tonight. As we get started tonight, we have a long list of items to take up. Board members, we do have a quorum. Jan, do we have any submissions for, or Cindy, do we have any submissions for open forum? Okay, thank you. At this time, we have the agenda before us. Board members, I need a motion and a second to adopt tonight's agenda.
So moved.
The item's been properly motioned. Do I have a second?
Second.
The item's been properly motioned and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Any opposed? It is unanimous. Now we move to item number 6A, the Office of Interim Superintendent, Ms. Edna McGill.
Thank you, Mr. President. Competition is a good thing, and especially when it's academic competition and we win. And I'm happy tonight to recognize a very gifted group of students. Columbus Middle School gifted education students competed in Boise State's International Economic Summit, hosted by Mississippi College in Clinton, Mississippi on December the 3rd, 2013. 48 teams in grades 7 through 12 from all over Mississippi participated in this prestigious competition. Under teacher Sylvia Colvin's guidance, 46 Columbus Middle School gifted students prepared 3 months for this real-world, real data trading simulation. We are very proud to recognize the following students from Columbus Middle School for their accomplishments at the summit. And at this time, I'd like to ask our board members to proceed to the floor to present our students with a certificate. We are happy to present these certificates of achievement, and along with their teacher, Mrs. Sylvia Collins, would you come forward, please, for perfect score on the written exams, Team Japan, Braden Bonsall, Aiden Dunkelberg, Kayla Hairston, Cesar Rojas Rincon, and Andrew McGee. This takes a lot of work and preparation, just as for any competition, and we commend these students and their teacher for the extra work that they have done to have a perfect score on the written exams. Okay, and Mrs. Collins, if you'll remain, we'll call the next group of students up. For first place, Costumes, Team South Africa. Kerrigan Clark, Toriana Savers, Kayla Gray, Taylor Harris, and Benjamin Graham. Congratulations to these students for first place costumes. And let us have just a minute to get a picture here. And while they're taking the picture, I'll introduce the next section. There's a part of the competition where there is a pre-summit recognition, and that pre-summit recognition went to only 6 teams for their research in a global issue. 2 of the 6 teams were from Columbus Middle School. Certificates of achievement are now presented to Team Zimbabwe and Team Nepal. Team Zimbabwe is Douglas Cockrell, Emerin Cunningham, Anna Pierce, Maya Rush, and Sam Yarbrough. And Team Nepal, Jakara Brooks, Christina Clark, Desiree Connor, and Laterica Whitfield. Congratulations to these students for pre-summit recognition. And while they're taking that picture, I'm going to introduce the next category. In the culminating debate, only 6 teams at the competition out of the 48 teams, only 6 of the 48 teams earned their way into the culminating debate. And 2 of those 6 teams were from the middle school. Team Japan members Braden Bonsall, Aiden Dunkelberg, Kayla Hairston, Cesar Rojas Rincon, Andrew McGee. And Team Canada, Michaela Miller, Jonas Oswalt, Jessica Smith, Graham Wesley, and Lucy Whitwam. Congratulations to these team members for making it into the culminating debate. How awesome. If you've never been to one of these, you really should attend. They're very, very difficult. Come in a little bit. All right. And the last category goes to Team Canada, and this is for Grand overall champion of the entire summit. Michaela Miller, Jonas Oswalt, Jessica Smith, Graham Wesley, and Lucy Whitwam. Congratulations. How awesome. And board members, just remain where you are, please. Thank you, Ms. Collins. Please, yes. We're still recognizing achievement. Okay. At this time, the Columbus Municipal School District Board of Trustees and District Management Team are very excited to acknowledge Cook Elementary Fine Arts Magnet School for earning national recognition for outstanding performance in advancing reading practices and proficiency across multiple grade levels. Cook has earned the Accelerated Reader Model School certification by Renaissance Learning. Model School certification acknowledges that Cook's efforts to promote personalized reading practice, assess comprehension, and monitor progress have resulted in measurable improvements in reading proficiency. Accelerated Reader Model School certification demonstrates that a majority of the school's students have met or exceeded goals for reading practice and comprehension. Included in this achievement, for a 12-week period, Cook students, led by their very efficient and effective teachers and administrators, have read books on their reading level, met reading goals based on their abilities each 9 weeks, read with comprehension to earn an average score of 85% or higher, contributed to model classroom certification, and experienced 5 months growth in a 10-week period. We invite Dr. Wilcox to come forward to accept this award to Cook Elementary Fine Arts Magnet School from the Board of Trustees and the District Management Team. That is no easy feat. And are there members of the Cook faculty here, Dr. Wilcox?
They're all committed elsewhere.
Okay.
All kinds of other service organizations. One of them's at a soccer game.
Okay. We want to please extend to them, through you, our appreciation to them for all of the hard work that they have done to achieve model school certification. Each year, we recognize a District Administrator of the Year. And this year, we are very, very proud to recognize Mrs. Billy Smith, Fairview Elementary School, for her outstanding instructional leadership. Mrs. Smith has exhibited exceptional instructional leadership. Over the course of the year, last year, her school increased a letter grade. They increased their QDI 11 points. They met growth. And in every Administrator PLC meeting we have, Mrs. Smith is the first to ask questions, to share her data, to praise her staff and to communicate her expectations for high achievement. We congratulate Mrs. Billy Smith, District Administrator of the Year. All right. Thank you, Board, for assisting in the recognitions.
Excuse me. Now we are to item number 6D, CMSD Varsity Football Coach Information. Ms. McGill.
Thank you, Mr. President. It is a rare opportunity that one is able to meet someone who exhibits so much professionalism, attention to detail, and is able to so effectively communicate high expectations. But we have met that person, and so we're very excited tonight to provide you with much more information about him. So at this time, I'd like to ask Mr. Shannon to share more information about our recommendation for varsity football coach, Mr. Randall Montgomery.
Thank you, Mrs. McGill. Board President, other board members are very excited tonight to bring a recommendation to you that we feel like will impact not only Columbus High School, not only the Columbus Municipal School District, but also impact our entire community. We all celebrated the birth of Dr. Martin Luther King this past weekend, and it's centered around the high achievements that he had throughout his lifetime. But we also always think about the I Have a Dream speech. Very few people know that Dr. King gave another speech in 1959 to some students. There were about 26,000 students gathered in Washington, D.C. To talk about educational issues and to break down the barriers of segregation. In that speech, Dr. King looked at those students and he said, I see a whole lot of black faces, and I see a whole lot of white faces. There were a mixture of students there. But he said, I really don't see those faces. I see one face. And he said, I see the face of our future. And that is what we see when we see the kids at Columbus High School and the kids throughout our district. I had a whole lot of advice through this process, Coach Green, Ms. Savely, Ms. McGill, and I, but there was some very good advice that was given from the people in the community and from some of our board members. Mr. Lotzenheiser, who's never at a loss for words, he gave very few words to this process. He said, Craig, just make sure we get this one right. We have to get it right. And I couldn't sleep for a few nights trying to make sure we got it right. Mrs. Fisher gave some very good advice, as she always does. She said, I know that we want to win ball games, but there's a game that I'm more importantly focused on, and it's a game called life. Because when our students leave Columbus High School, they have to compete in a game called life, and that is a game that we want to win. That is a game that we must win. So a few more sleepless nights as we went through this process about that, Mrs. Fisher, but it is also true. We have to make sure that we get it right and that our kids are winners in a game called life. And I do believe with all my heart we found the right person. We found a young man, Mr. Randall Montgomery, who has a 3-year head coaching background. He's been a head coach for only 3 years. But in those 3 years, he has a 43-4 record. He has been to the state championship game 3 straight times. He has competed for a state championship 3 times. If he holds up his right hand through his speech on tonight, you'll see a big championship diamond ring on his right finger. That is what we want. That is what the kids in the back that are sitting there with our football jerseys on that they wear with so much pride, that is what they deserve. And I told them today as we went around, we're going to be the big ticket in this area. People are going to come from Starkville, from West Point, from Tupelo to see us play. South Panola is not there anymore. Tupelo is not going to be it. It's time for the Columbus Falcons to rise up with Coach Montgomery's leadership and with the support of this board and our superintendent. We have championship caliber students in every facet. You saw them win categories and championships in academics. Here earlier tonight they were recognized. You saw our championship principal, Mrs. Billy Smith. We're going to present to you a championship coach that we know will lead us to a level of excellence. Columbus is the place to be. We had over 60 inquiries of people wanting to come here and be our head coach. We had over 30 people to formally apply through letter or written email to Coach Green. We went out and we found the best of the best. We have searched long and hard. We've made a personal trip to his hometown that he coaches in, Hazelhurst, and talked to the people in that community. They said their loss is definitely our gain, and they wish him very well with as much support that can be given. We have watched him talk to the students at the middle school and at the high school, and guys, quite honestly, he's the real deal. He's going to bring a level of excitement to our town, to our football program, and he is committed to winning on the football field, but he's most committed to making sure that we produce championship young men, and so I know that we have made the right choice. We will be recommending for your approval Coach Randall Montgomery. He has a very good academic background. He is certified in English. We'll be teaching at the high school some English courses or ACT prep courses. We'll have to see how the schedule works out as far as the master's schedule, but that will be his assignment. He is very excited about that. He is very, very familiar with the college entrance requirements for our students, and we'll start as early as 7th grade, making sure our students know what it takes to reach that next level, whether it be college or the workforce. We have to make sure we're preparing them to be successful citizens. So without further ado, I will answer any questions that you have right now concerning our process before we allow you to consider to approve the recommendation for head football coach, and after that, Coach Montgomery, along with his some players and cheerleaders, will come to the podium to say a few words. Are there any questions that I can answer for you at this time?
Board members? All right. We'll move to item E, which is consideration to approve recommendation for CMSD varsity football coach Randall Montgomery. Board members, I need a motion and a second.
Second.
The item's been properly motioned and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Any opposed? It is unanimous. Congratulations and welcome, Coach Montgomery.
If we could have the players and the cheerleaders come up and stand behind Coach Montgomery.
Good evening.
Good evening.
The first thing I want to do is say thank you. I want to thank God for giving me this opportunity to not only just be a football coach, but have the opportunity to lead young men. Mr. Shannon, you did a great job of introducing me. I'll say that. You know, for a second there, I was kind of worried if you were actually talking about me. So I appreciate all those kind words. I don't want to get into naming names of everybody that I want to thank for allowing me this opportunity, because I'll leave someone out. It's been a long day. I've had the opportunity with Mr. Shannon, Ms. Savely, Ms. McGill, to just go all across Columbus and just stop at different venues and just meet a lot of different people. So I'm a little tired, and I've had the opportunity, like he said, to meet with the middle school kids. I've met with the 9th grade football team. Of course, I met with the varsity guys. And the one message that I tried to relate to them is that we're going to do it the right way. And I firmly believe that. These guys they're gonna get it done in the classroom, and they're gonna get it done on the football field. And that's just not coach speak. That's just the way it's gonna be. I firmly believe that if you do it in the classroom, then the field will take care of itself. I told the guys today that I'm familiar with pretty much everybody that they play on their schedule. And my question to them and the administration is why not Columbus? And I'm a firm believer that if we do what we need to do in terms of taking care of ourselves on the field and off the field and taking care of the little things, then the wins will take care of themselves. I've been fortunate enough to be a head football coach for 3 years, and like Mr. Shannon said, I have the opportunity to coach in 3 straight state championships. But I can't get up here and promise you that we'll play in a state championship. I can't promise you that we'll win a championship. But I will tell you that these guys, nobody's going to outwork us. And again, that says in the classroom and out there on the football field. And I think if we'll do that and we'll commit to everything that we bring in and all the new ideas that we put in front of them, I think the wins will take care of themselves. So again, I want to thank everybody that was involved. I want to thank the board for this has been a long process. I know some of you know that a few weeks ago I think this kind of got out, and so I've been answering calls and telling people I don't know anything about it for the last 2.5 weeks. So now I guess finally I can tell them it's official. Yeah, thank you. And I would be remiss without saying thank you to my home team, which is my wife Stephanie, and my 5-year-old son. I think you'd have to be a mother to understand what it means to just want to pick up your family and move, 2.5 hours away. So we're both moving farther away from my family. My 5-year-old son started kindergarten this year. He told me the other night when I had the conversation with him that he's going to miss his BFF that he made in kindergarten. So I appreciate them. It's a tough job being a coach's wife and a coach's family because, daddy's always away from home, but I really want to appreciate them. And to everybody in the crowd today, we're going to win some football games, and there's no doubt about it. And I want everyone to be in those stands, being loud for these guys behind me. Cheerleaders, I want to thank you for just coming out. I don't even know any of you, and I just want to say thank you for coming out and shaking your pom-poms. That means a lot. So hopefully we'll have an opportunity to shake them a lot more. Look for big things here in Columbus, and I hope you guys get behind us and let's go win some ball games. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. McGill, I'll let you go.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you, Coach. We appreciate you very much. Players, cheerleaders, thank y'all for being here tonight. We'll ask Coach Montgomery to go out into the outside area where the media can ask any questions they might have and interview him.
Before they leave, I'd just like to say to you all, it's a great day to be a Falcon.
Absolutely, it is. And thank Coach Montgomery for coming and bringing his blueprint to our district and helping us shape not only individuals on the field, but in the classroom. Now we'll move to item number 6G, which is the magnet school study. If you would, Ms. McGill, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Beth, I think we have a PowerPoint presentation attachment. If you would open that, please. Some time ago, we began the process of studying, doing some longitudinal data, researching and trying to determine what the data looks like over time. And so we want to present a summary of those findings to you tonight regarding our magnet school themes. First of all, just let me tell you the titles of our magnet schools. We have Cook Fine Arts, Fairview Aerospace and Science, Franklin Medical and Wellness, Sale International Studies, Stokes Beard Technology and Communications. And so the first area that we looked at is enrollment. And we looked at enrollment from the year 2000, 2001 to 2013, 14. We looked at the enrollment at the beginning of the year of each of those years. And while enrollment has declined from 5,098 in 2000 to 4,482 in 2013, that is a decrease of 616 students. From August of 2000 to August of 2007, enrollment decreased by 503 students. So that's part of the period of time that we looked at. There was a decrease of 503 students. Magnet school themes were implemented in 2008-2009 in grades K through 5. So beginning then, enrollment decreased from 4,520 in August of 08 to 4,482 in August of 2013. That was only 38 students. So that was a loss of 38 students. Magnet school themes, therefore, appear to have had a stabilizing effect on enrollment in grades K through 5, and that's a good thing. Then we looked at achievement. As I said, magnet schools were implemented in 2008, 2009. Achievement has shown a relatively flat trend line. There's been, and that's the enrollment chart, and then that's the graph showing what I just talked about. So achievement has shown a relatively flat trend line, meaning that over the period of time that we looked at for 5 years, there was no significant gain and no significant loss. Just a flat trend line. However, that can also be looked at from the perspective of magnet school themes having a stabilizing effect on achievement. So over a 5-year period, achievement has remained about the same. The gap between CMSD and Mississippi has decreased. So we are closing the gap between our students and the rest of the students in Mississippi. The implications of the study are that schools with a magnet school theme integrating science and inquiry-based or project-based learning show the most consistent increases in student achievement, and those two schools are Sale and Franklin. We would like to consider infusing our current magnet schools with more science, technology, engineering, and math, or STEM. Another implication for STEM and infusing STEM is that Common Core state standards require increasing performance-based or student-centered learning like they have at those two schools. The research, we are also in the process of researching grants to support increasing STEM, and we are working on a grant for early college, high school. So we are working to make some minor changes in our magnet school themes to address the issues that we have seen with the trend over the past 5 years. Looking ahead, there are some changes that may be possible with the Early College High School Options Grant, and it is designed to increase STEM and improve magnet school themes. If we obtain that grant, and even if we don't, we will look at ways to increase technology for all students in all schools. The grant would also allow us the infusion of science, technology, engineering, and math in all schools. And according to the summary and the analysis, that would be the most appropriate thing to do to increase student achievement. We would, in looking ahead toward our high school, we would want our students to graduate with an associate's degree and a high school diploma. And the grant that we are currently working on would allow us an opportunity to do that. Students might also graduate with a manufacturing skills certification. And so if we are able to infuse STEM in the early grades in elementary, fast forward then to high school, to where they are coming to high school with those skills already taught and being proficient at those skills. So students would have more options for graduation through the associate's degree with the high school diploma and the manufacturing skills certification. And looking ahead, we would want to increase performance-based, student-centered learning, and also to provide professional development that would help us adhere to the rigor of Common Core state standards. It was a very productive study, and it helped focus us on looking at ways that we can infuse STEM into our elementary schools that would lead to more success academically at the middle and high schools. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. McGill. Board members, with respect to the information discussed, is there any questions or comments?
I would just like to say thank you, Ms. McGill, for doing the report. It was something that came up a few months ago, and we do appreciate you going out and actually assessing what we're doing right now with our magnet schools. And I'm really, really excited about the possibility of focusing on STEM, because we do know that that's the way, not only for the state of Mississippi, but for the world. So I appreciate that consideration. Do we know what our timeline looks like in terms of moving forward? Like, what really is our next step in this process?
We are in the process of meeting with principals and gathering input from them. Writing the grant has provided us a vehicle or an opportunity to cause us to look more carefully at the study and at the implications there. So it has really caused us to look carefully at the detail, and moving forward, we are going to hinge some of those decisions on the application for the grant. That is due the end of this month, and we expect to hear back whether we are awarded that grant in April. Along about that same time, we are in the budget process. And while we don't expect significant changes for the coming year, there would be a full impact for the next year.
And just as developments continue to move forward, if you would just keep us abreast of how those actions are transpiring, I'd appreciate it.
Thank you. I will.
All right. Now, board members, we move to item 7, which is the approval of the minutes. Consideration to approve the December 16, 2013 regular school board meeting minutes, January 9, 2014 regular school board meeting, and the January 11, 2014 special meeting. I need a motion and a second. Item's been properly motioned. Do I have a second?
Second.
Item's been properly motioned and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor of approving the minutes, please signify by raising your right hand. Any opposed? It is unanimous. Now we move to item number 8, the consent agenda. Board members, we've reviewed through the different items listed. A. Pardon? Yes, it was to approve all the minutes. Okay, threw me off. I thought maybe somebody had changed my copy here. Okay, that's okay. Yes. All right, so we have approved all the minutes A, B, and C. Now we move to item number 8, which is the consent agenda. Items A, B, C, D, E, and F. Board members, I need a motion to approve the consent agenda. And I'll second that. Any discussion? All in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Any opposed? It is unanimous. Now we move to item number 9, which is the Office of Personnel, Ms. Donna Mann, which is the approval of staff personnel items. Board members, I need a motion and a second to approve the staff items.
So moved.
Item's been properly motioned. Do I have a second? Ms. Friedel, will you be the second on that?
Second.
Second. Item's been properly motioned and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Any opposed? It is unanimous. Now we move to item 10, which is the Office of Deputy Superintendent, Mr. Shannon.
Thank you, Mr. President, other board members, Mrs. McGill. We have several reports that we would like to provide the board with tonight, and we will make sure as we move forward, we provide this information at each board meeting so that you guys will be kept up to date as we move through the budget process so that you will see exactly where we are. The first report deals with food services, and Mrs. Holly Rogers is our federal programs accountant, and she will come and give that report.
Thank you, Mr. Shannon. Welcome, Ms. Rogers.
Hello. The reports I've provided for you at the request of the board were for the revenue and expenditure comparison between FY13 and FY14. I have tried to condense it as best as I could. You guys had a chance to look over it. Do you have any questions for me? I provided it for August through November.
I do have one question.
Yes, Ms. Fisher.
And that is just on the Revenue Code 1630. Can you just make sure that we all understand, including the public, what that particular code references?
Yes, ma'am. The Special Revenue Code 16.
Your mic
Okay.
is on.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
The Special Revenue Function Code 1630 refers to special functions, and it is where we would code our catering revenue.
I'm sorry, can you give an example for the public of special functions?
It's just the catering revenue. I've gone back for a few years to see if there was anything else coded there, and it was just the catering revenue for outside events or for CMSD district events.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Board members, are there any other questions with respect to this report? Okay. Ms. Rogers, do you have anything else?
I don't.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms.
You're
Rogers.
welcome.
Now we'll move to item 10B, which is the CMSD events report. Mr. Green.
The purpose of this report, as Mr. Green comes up, is to make sure our public and our board is informed on what we take in at all of the athletic events and other events that we have across CMSD, with the focus being on the high school. So Mr. Green will give that report and answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Board. If you see in front of you the report for this is through December of this year. The volleyball games, I will not go through each individual, but you see the total of 720, and then you also, I put down the cost of each event, so a total of 30 for the volleyball activity. Football brought in, varsity football brought in $38,252. Junior high football, $3,603. This is slow pitch softball. Fast pitch will be this semester. Slow pitch softball at $1,642. Soccer at $1,328. Varsity basketball, this is $13,325. That does include the classic this year, the Joe Horn Classic. Junior high basketball so far is $1,846. The front line is raised $1,699, and the band at $586. Keep in mind we do have half the year left, and basketball and soccer are halfway through their season as well. Are there any questions as far as that report is concerned?
Board members?
Yes. Mr. Green, thank you very much for the report. We did have some questions, but they're regarding administrative issues, and we have brought that to the attention of Mrs. McGill, and I expect that she will address those with you.
Okay. The next report was concerning the apparel, the Nike apparel. I have listed where we started as far as the number of apparel that we bought. Over. No.
That report. Sorry. That report is on board book under resources, and I think that it shows that you have a balance of about 46.
Yes, ma'am.
In inventory.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you, since the board does not have that and we don't have board book on the computer, can you just go through that? It's not very lengthy.
No, ma'am. We started off with 377 articles. We have given 162 to various coaches throughout the years. You have to keep in mind we've had these for almost 4 years, 3.5 years. And we have sold 179 of them, and that leaves us 46 left that we are presently trying to sell the best way we can.
Okay. Good. Board members, do you have any additional questions for Mr. Green? Thank you very much, Mr. Green.
Thank you.
Now we will go to our transportation report. Mr. Shannon.
Okay, as that report is being retrieved, what we did, of course, also we will provide this report at each board meeting as the board has requested. And what we do is take our past cost and our present cost and do a comparison. And we also make sure that we are working within the budget that the board has approved and that we allow. It is broken down by each month, and you see the total for 2013 through November is $797,000 versus 2012, $723,000. So we're up about $75,000 in that area. We are working within our budget of 1.96, which the actual budget for EchoRide, which is our current provider, is 1.874. And we do expect to come in within or just slightly below those budget numbers. We also have provided what we have spent over the duration of the water's transportation contract, and also a comparison as to what was actually spent during the first year that the other contractor did take over. And we do closely monitor those budgets to make sure our expenditures are within budget.
Okay. Board members, any questions? One question I have, Mr. Shannon, this does include any repairs to the White Fleet part of the system, correct?
Yes, sir, it does.
Okay. All right. Board members, any questions or comments on this report? Thank you very much for your help on this, Mr. Shannon. Okay. Now before us we have our next item, which is 9E, which is, 10E, which is consideration to approve fundraisers. Board members, we've had time to look through the different fundraisers. I need a motion and a second to approve them.
So moved.
Item's been properly motioned. Do I have a second?
Second.
Item's been properly motioned and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor of approval, please signify by raising your right hand. Any opposed? It is unanimous. And next we have item 10F, which is the 2014-2015 draft academic calendar. That's information only, and I know we've had discussion about it. But Ms. McGill, would you like to speak to the point?
Mr. President, Mr. Shannon is going to discuss this with us. Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mrs. McGill. I will speak very briefly about the two options that we see before you. Of course, these are still in draft stage. We do want to solicit as much input as we possibly can. We have asked our teachers, our administrators, and each building did have parent representation to come and provide input in a meeting that was held right after Christmas. The reason why we are presenting these drafts so early is because as people begin to plan vacations, they want to know what dates they have to work around. Unfortunately, the legislature has not made a final decision on when the start of school may be. According to a law that was passed about 3 years ago, no public school in Mississippi can start with students before the third Monday in August, and that is the law as it currently stands. Now, that may change. There has been some discussion around the state to allow students and school districts to start a little earlier. And as the legislative process works its way through, hopefully we'll get a decision very soon. The early start date calendar, which is the first one that's up there now, does have us starting on the 18th, and that will allow our teachers to come back and have some training days there at the beginning of the year, and allow our teachers to also have enough work days to receive a full paycheck for that month. As you recall, some of the turbulence that has centered around this bill is that teachers cannot be paid for an entire month if they do not work over, I think it's 15.72 days. So we want to make sure they get enough time in and we can distribute their paycheck equally. One of the problems that goes along with that first calendar is that students will have to take semester exams when they come back from Christmas, and they traditionally take those before they leave for Christmas. But that is a problem we must face, and we will address, especially at the high school, with adequate study packets and resources to make sure that our kids are successful. It does put our graduation there on the 23rd, and well, that is our early start date calendar. Our graduation will be on the 23rd, and you'll see that we have a snow day built in. Okay. The late start date calendar is the one that is should be up now, that addresses those issues that we just talked about. We do still have the full week of break at the second week in March, which is our spring break, and all of the teachers and parents did elect and strongly supported having the full week at Thanksgiving on both calendars. Of course, this is still in the draft stages, and we would like for the board to carefully review these, and if there's any changes that are recommended, we will take those back to the committee and bring a final draft when that law has been decided upon.
Okay. Board members, do you have any questions for Mr. Shannon regarding the calendars or process? Thank you very much, Mr. Shannon. Now we'll move to the Office of Federal and Special Programs. Mr. Brown.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Two items that I would like to talk to the board about. The first item is the Columbus Magnet Schools lottery process for 2014. For decades, our school district was under a federal court desegregation order, which dictated how students were assigned to our elementary schools. As a part of the process that got us released from that order, we put in place a system of choice, but also a lottery, so that there's some fairness. It is not just a first come, first serve. So that lottery process will start, people will actually be able to apply for the school of their choice starting Monday, February the 10th, and it will close on Monday, March the 3rd. And that is for students who are new to our school district in the elementary grades, and also for students who wish to change their school placement. If a student the parent is satisfied with the current placement, they do not have to do anything in this lottery. If your child is entering kindergarten, they will need to be 5 years old on or before September the 1st. If they're entering our pre-K program, they'll need to be 4 on or before September the 1st. We have scheduled a number of open houses at our elementary schools to highlight the various magnet schools themes. This flyer will be released to the public. It'll go home with every child. It'll also be placed throughout our community so that these open house dates will be publicized, and parents will have an opportunity to actually come into the school and see what makes those magnet themes different for each of our buildings. Any questions about our lottery and our parent choice?
I do. I have one question, Mr. Brown. What do we do for parents who have multiple children? Are there any concessions for allowing all of those students to go to the same elementary school? How does that process work?
Built into the lottery process with the software that actually does the lottery, there are things that try to place those kids at the same school. And right now we're running a success rate in the high 90% that people get the schools that they want. We've not had a whole lot of people not getting, and I say 90%, that's for first choice. If second choice, 100%. And nobody's ever had to go to their third choice.
Board members, any other questions regarding the lottery? Thank you, Mr. Brown.
Okay. The other item that I wanted to speak to the board about, Ms. McGill did me a favor over the holidays. She gave an interview to the news media, and it appeared in the newspaper, and as soon as it did, we started getting phone calls. What is this new discipline program that you all have implemented, and what is all this positive stuff? We're going to get rid of punishment, you know, and boy, you can't tell you how many phone calls I got. So I asked Ms. McGill if she would just give me a couple of minutes to talk about PBIS, what it is and what it's not. PBIS is Positive Behavioral Intervention and Support. It is actually mandated by state law that we implement this system. It is implemented in all of our schools and has been for a number of years. But one of the things that we've noticed is that the fidelity across the system is not up to the level that we would like. So what we're doing is going back, retraining, and trying to re-energize this process. The emphasis is on the positive. We try to have 3 to 5 well-written rules that emphasize positive behavior in every setting across the school, in the classroom, and those are not only posted, but they are taught to the students, and the consequences, which we used to call punishment, are also posted and are made public, and students are very aware of what will happen if these rules are violated. But we emphasize the consequences for following the rules, and what the research clearly shows is that in some school districts, they're able to get 80% compliance in terms of students following rules across the school year, just from the positive sides of it. Now, that leaves out 20%, and that's where we go to the second tier, and we have the supports. That's where the support comes in for children who may not do it just because we said you have to do it. So we have those consequences, but we also deal with issues that children have. A lot of our kids who misbehave, there is an underlying cause. I started my day off today on the phone with a principal who had a very young, I think a first or second grader in her office, who I could hear in the background screaming, yelling, I don't want to be at school, I want to go home, I don't want to be here, I want to go home. We have to have in place for those kids a system of support that provides them with the necessary strategies to deal with the various things that children, unfortunately, in our society have to deal with that perhaps a generation or so ago we didn't deal with in school settings. So it's positive, it's behavioral, but it's also interventions with kids who are not in that 80%, who are not doing what we expect of them, and we provide the training and the support, and we have another training session for our teachers in February, and then we have another one in March. And I haven't even had a chance to discuss that with you, Ms. McGill. Those 2 days have been split. One's in February and one's in March. And then we'll look at for next school year. Now, as a success story, the elementary schools that took this approach and wrote a goal for discipline this year, I think there were 2 in our principal meetings last week. They have reduced the number of tardies in their school by half. And it's from the positive intervention and just, you know, making sure that parents, that students, that everyone understands what our expectations are, making them clearly posted, teaching them to the kids, and actually publicizing them, and just making sure everybody's on the same page. Thank you.
Any questions for Mr. Brown? The only thing I know, it was at the top of our minds when we were having our meeting, a couple weeks ago was, this continuation of training as we have new individuals hired that come in throughout the year, substitute teachers, whomever it may be, and just to make certain that there are, times throughout the year that this training is, brought to them so that we don't have that we keep equilibrium in the pattern that we're continuing to use from not just at the beginning of the year, this is kind of your orientation of how we're going to do it, to ongoing processes. And I assume from what you just discussed as far as the February and the March, that's a part of the overall long-term plan.
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay. Board members, any other questions, Mr. Brown? Thank you very much, Mr. Brown. Now we move to item 12, which is the Office of Testing and Special Services. Ms. Bragg. Good evening.
How are you tonight?
Doing well.
Very good. You received your honor roll for the second 9 weeks. I know you've had a chance to look at that. Just if you have any questions, just let me know. Ms. Burdell, any questions? I love you, Ms. Burdell. Okay. To go along with that, we have a report tonight on park field testing. And we talked, we're always talking and planning, and we want to give you guys as much information as we can to let you know things that are happening in our district and at the state level. So I kind of wanted to give you just an update on what our state's doing. And to go along with adhering to the rigor of Common Core state standards, as Ms. McGill spoke about earlier, the park, some of you may not know, but Mississippi is one of several states that's a member of the Partnership for Assessment of Readiness for College and Careers, which we commonly call PARC, okay? And this consortium is leading the way in assessment innovation by developing the new next generation of assessments with other states that are also partnered with PARC. And PARC is developing a set of rigorous assessments in English language arts, literacy, mathematics, and grades 3 through 11 based on the Common Core state standards. And is with any standardized assessment, field testing must take place. Our district is one of many districts in the state that is participating in these field tests. The last that I heard, there were 512 schools participating, and if I'm not mistaken, I think we have right over 1,000 schools in the state of Mississippi. So half of the schools are participating in this field testing. The primary purpose for PARC field tests are to examine the quality of the items so that PARC can build the assessment forms which will go into effect the 14-15 school year. Test out assessment administration procedures, how we go about carrying out these tests, and giving schools and districts the opportunity to experience the overall administration of the assessments. Now, as you can see on this handout, we have 4 schools that were chosen, happily chosen, to participate in the field testing. Columbus High School, 11th grade, language arts, online, PBA, EOY, and let me explain that to you. Our students will participate as listed by grade, subject area, the mode of administration, either paper, pencil, or online. And as you can see, we have both modes, and the component, which is either the performance-based assessment or the end-of-year assessment. The dates of administration are from March 24th through April the 11th for the performance-based assessment, which will include about 75% of the school year as far as the assessment items. And then the end-of-year assessment is going to be given from May the 5th through June the 6th. And there are schools that go longer than we do at the end of the school year, which will include 95% of the instructional year. So with that said, we have our 4 schools that will be participating. And let me just explain to you what these tests include. The language arts PBA will involve literature analysis, narrative writing, and research simulation tasks. Students will read passages and write pieces to demonstrate they can read and understand complex text, write effectively, build and communicate knowledge. Did you hear me? I didn't say A, B, C, D. Okay, so you understand when we talk about rigor involved with these assessments, what's going on now at this new level, okay? The math PBA will involve solving problems, expressing mathematical reasoning, and applying concepts to solve model real-world problems. The language arts end of year test will involve tasks that require students to demonstrate their content, skills, and knowledge, including extended tasks and innovative test items, demonstrating their ability to comprehend complex text, literature, literary nonfiction, informational text from history, social studies, science, technical subjects, engage in the reading of texts that require them to draw conclusions, interpret the meaning of words or phrases, technical vocabulary, compare, integrate, and synthesize ideas in text. Then the math EOY requires students to demonstrate their ability to solve multi-step problems, conceptual questions, applications, and carrying out procedures. Now, let me tell you that Ms. Tippett and I work very closely with the Office of Student Assessment to make sure that our technology is up to date with everything that we're about to venture off into, and field testing is going to be one of the first things that we do online. So we will be prepared when we begin this process, and we will be ready for full online implementation of testing next year. We will also, and this is just to give you a little more knowledge, we will be taking our Mississippi science test online for 5th and 8th grade this year. So, but that's apart from the field testing, okay? So we have a webinar scheduled on the 28th to give us more information on this, and then on the 31st, we will follow up with that with a training for the specific people that will be involved in conducting these field tests. So just want to give you some information on that and let you know that a lot is coming forward as far as assessment and what we are going to have to do in Mississippi. Okay?
Thank you, Ms. Bragg.
Thank you much.
Board members, do you have any questions?
No, sir.
Yes. I'll yield to you for now.
Ms. Friedel?
No, I'll yield
Ms. Fisher?
Just a question. I couldn't quite hear you regarding online.
Yes, ma'am.
Being completed. Is that with all 4 schools that are engaged in the park?
No, ma'am.
Or just you'll be fully online with the 2?
The 2 that are, yes, ma'am, just the 2.
And when will the 4 be moved to online accessibility as well, or will they remain paper and pen?
Say that again now.
The 2 that are paper and pen.
Yeah,
will they remain?
They'll still just be paper pencil for
Okay.
right now.
Now, is that a selection or methodology used?
The State Department chose which method
Okay.
we would use. We did not choose that. They chose it for us.
Okay, thank you.
They chose the school, the
Okay.
grade. They chose the whole gamut of
Okay.
what we were going to do.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's my turn now. Thank you for the report, first of
Okay.
all.
You're welcome.
Question, as far as the testing goes for those 4 schools, will any grades be recorded for the students, like grades that will impact their grades for the 9 weeks, or are we really just doing this
No,
to understand?
This is completely for an
very
understanding
good.
process.
Very
Very good
good.
question, though.
Okay.
Yes. No grading will be recorded at all.
Okay, so my next question or request goes back to your first part of your report.
Okay.
Is it possible for us to highlight those students who achieve honor roll status for the 9 weeks? And I have 2 places I would like to see it. Can we add a link each 9 weeks to our website to say these are our students and this is what
that-
they've accomplished?
That should be out there.
I didn't see it.
Okay.
I don't find it.
All right.
And then the other is, and I think the last time we talked, you said that the schools would handle posting that in the paper
Yeah.
themselves, and I
They
didn't
are,
see that.
they are sending that in to Mr. Jackson,
Okay.
who is our PR rep, and he is sending those out to the media.
Okay, so if
And
we could
he-
make sure we highlighted in both of those places, I
Right.
think that would be awesome for our
It-
kids to know that their names are in the paper, that they're being
That-
recognized for doing a
yes.
great job.
And that is our process. I mean, when did the honor roll go? When did,
Yeah,
I mean, it
yeah, I
should
wasn't
be-
looking for
yeah.
this past one, just
Oh,
the
okay.
the ones before that. I haven't
You didn't
seen
get that one? Didn't
I
see
hadn't
that
seen
one?
it, no.
Okay. That is our procedure.
Thank you. I have
I
no
will
more
follow
questions.
up on that.
I have no more questions.
Are you sure?
I'm sure.
All
Thank
right.
you.
One item I'd like to say is that, I heard an idea before that maybe a most improved honor roll, to where obviously not every student is hitting the top marks that they might be doing, but if there might be some way to quantify the results, that we could promote those individuals who are really working hard to bring their level and abilities up, and set some type of criteria to recognize them as well.
I do know that that happens at the end of the school year, at awards assemblies, and
Right.
et cetera. But you'd like to see that each 9 weeks as well?
Well, I know it's something that, as when we were doing our presentation earlier with Dr. Wilcox, that we've been able to move students forward very rapidly. And so if you could kind of segment those individuals out as time goes by, showing how individuals are doing, it might just kind of food for thought if there's something we can look into to, promote every student. It's really pushing hard to get to the next level. That would be great as well.
On it.
Thank you, Ms. Bragg.
Thank you.
Now we will go to item 13, which is the Office of Accountability and Compliance. Ms. Lenore.
Good evening, Mr. President, members of the board, Mrs. McGill. I just have a short summary of the process and procedures of where we are with policy review for our district for this school year. The committee has been working extremely hard, and I do appreciate all of the work that the committee provides and the support that they provide as we work through this process. I will say we were in a meeting with Common Core a couple of weeks ago, and the presenter said, how do we eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And that's exactly what we're having to do with the policy review, because this is a very tedious process, but we want it done right when we do it. So we are taking our time, and we're working through it very, very carefully as we proceed through this process. But just to give you an update of where we are with it, currently, Section A, School District Organization, we are nearing completion of review with the committee of Section A. There were only a few policies that remained for us to look at with Section A, and we plan to, committee members, we're going to knock those out at our next meeting. So that is our goal, is to complete Section A at our January meeting so that we can have the remainder of those policies recommending them for approval coming up at near board meetings. Section J, I want to let you know where we are in the process with Section J, the student portion of our board policies. Currently, I am working with Dr. Clay on reviewing Section J, and it is my hope that we can begin to look at some of the policies in Section J at our next committee meeting. One of the things that we are looking at doing is making sure that the policies that are represented in our Columbus Students Guidebook, that we are putting those policies first so that we can review those and have those approved so that we can proceed with our publishing of our student handbook. So with Section J, that is a very large section, and it's taking quite a while to move through Section J with Dr. Clay. I want to kind of give you a little bit of information on the work with Dr. Clay. Normally 1 to 2 times each month, we will schedule teleconferences, and I will work with her. We will look at the MSBA policies, and we will compare those to our current policies in the district, and she will provide recommendations or guidance through where we should be going with those policies. Typically, those meetings with her last, on average, 2 to 3 hours. So there's quite a bit of pre-work that's done before those policies are actually presented to the committee. So letting you know with Section J, because of the vast amount of policies that are present there, we are maybe about 1/4 of the way finished with Section J, with me reviewing those policies with Dr. K. Clay, and then being able to provide that information to the members of the committee. We do have a committee meeting scheduled for January the 30th at 9:00 a.m. So that's where we are in the process of reviewing and updating our policies.
Thank you,
Thank
Ms.
you.
Lenore. Board members, do you have any questions for Ms. Lenore? Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Now we will move to item 14, which is the Office of Business Management. Ms. Tammy McGar. Board members, before us, we've had time to review over the item A, monthly financial statement reports, also the combined and combining report, monthly revenue budget, monthly expenditure budget report, and the ad valorem tax collection analysis. And now we have a new report before us that Ms. McGar will explain a little bit more in detail.
Okay. Good evening.
Good
Hope
evening.
everyone is doing well. We are required by state law now to provide you a certification that we have reconciled the bank statements for each month. So for December, we would have reconciled the November bank statements. So we have provided that information to you. And do you have any questions on that?
Board members? No, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. McGar.
You're welcome.
Now we'll move to item G, which is to approve to pay the bills. Board members, I need a motion and a second to pay the bills.
I'd like to recuse myself.
Okay. Thank you very much. Ms. Turner? All right, board members, I need a motion and a second to approve to pay the bills. And I'll second that. Any discussion? All in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Any opposed? It is unanimous. Thank you, Mr. Shannon. Linda, grab it. Strong breeze. And lastly, we have item H, which is the monthly safety report. Board members, do you have any questions regarding the safety report? If not, thank you very much, Ms. McGar.
Thank you.
Now we move to item 15, which is the Board of Trustees. We have before us tonight consideration to remove from the table the following Section A policies, which is Policy AA, Policy ABA, Policy ABBA, Policy ABC, Policy ABCB, and Policy ABCC. Board members, I need a motion and a second to remove these items from the table.
So moved. Second.
The item's been properly motioned and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, please signify by... Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
I'd just like to make a recommendation. I think this has been mentioned before, that we should highlight the areas in which we made the changes, and I don't see those changes highlighted right here. But just in the future, if we could do that so that people could see what's been changed.
And that is one of the items that we discussed at our meeting a couple weeks ago, and it has been conveyed, and I know they're going to work to make sure that as we go forward that those changes are highlighted. And thank you very much, Ms. Turner, for pointing that out. Start over. I need a motion and a second. Yes. Okay. That's what I'm trying. Right. All right. Any additional discussion? All in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Any opposed? It is unanimous. Now, board members, since they have been removed from the table, we do have consideration to adopt the following policies, which are policy AA, ABA, ABBA, ABC, ABCB, and ACC. ABCC, excuse me. All in favor of approving the policies, please signify. I'm sorry. A motion and a second.
So moved.
Item's been properly motioned. Do I have a second?
Second.
Item's been properly motioned and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Any opposed? It is unanimous. Now we'll move to item C, which is consideration to approve Ms. Tammy McGar for bank signatory. I need a motion and a second to approve. The item's been properly motioned. Do I have a second?
Second.
The item's been properly motioned and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Any opposed? It is unanimous. Next, we'll move to item D, which is the discussion of the superintendent search. To start off, a couple of things. If you remember, we had or entertained MSBA school board representative here, and he brought us the contract, which is before us. Does everyone have a copy? I did pass them out to everyone, yes. Mm-hmm. And this is just some information that we will need to read through. And also, I know there are a couple other companies that would like to participate or at least give us the opportunity to discuss them assisting us with the search. And so what I will do is reach out to those groups and individuals to bring to us that information so that we can evaluate it and decide which company or entity we would like to utilize in going forward. Now, another thing that we also have to outline is how exactly we want to conduct the search. And so, board members, do you have any comments or questions that we can discuss at this point with respect to the permanent superintendent search?
Yes, I do. I have a motion I'd like to make, Mr. President.
Yes.
Okay. I move that we begin the process to select a third-party search firm to conduct the national search for the position of the superintendent of Columbus Municipal School District effective July 21st, 2014. After determining the appropriate search firm, all information and documents pertaining to the search will be handled by the third-party search firm with CMSD involvement only as agreed upon by the entire CMSD Board of Trustees.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. The item's been properly motioned and seconded. Any discussion? Yes.
I have it, because I knew it was wordy, so I typed it up.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Okay.
I have another copy.
Okay. All right. Any additional discussion? All in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Any opposed? It is unanimous. And, one thing as we go forward that we've, discussed before is that certainly each individual board member will need to put together their own idea as to what we're looking for so that we can, of course, allow that to coalesce into our structure that we would want to work with those selected firm to move forward with.
Mr. President, one of the things that I did do, and I have a copy for everybody, is I just kind of went through, it's basically what you said you were going to do, and identified search firms who have been successful either in the Southeast or in Mississippi. So if I have your permission, I'd like to share a copy.
Yes, absolutely.
It has a date of October 23rd, 2013, because I had it ready way back then. Mm-hmm. But it does include a list of national search firms that cater to exactly what it is that we're looking to do. And I'll note for you the two who has had some dealings in our area. If you look at Hazard Young, Atia and Associates, they've done some work in Tupelo. And if you look at Ray and Associates, I think they were involved with the national search for our state superintendent.
Right.
So thank you for allowing me to submit that.
Do you have the location? I'd like to have the city and state of these various entities. Do you have that with you tonight?
I don't have it tonight, but I'll email it to you for tomorrow.
If you could furnish that would be helpful.
Sure.
And as far as the list that you've prepared here, obviously any board member can add if there's another for evaluation, correct? Okay, and board members, I would ask that as you review through the list and complete your due diligence, that if there are additional firms to be added for consideration, that you would email that to me, and of course I will make sure that that gets to each board member so that we have the full list to move forward with. One thing that I would ask us to do is, in preparation between now and our next board meeting, is to, our next regularly scheduled board meeting, is to start putting together those defined characteristics that we would want to consider, whether it be local, state, national, all the different types of things we want to do, as well as other types of baselines that we'd want to consider. And then also, if possible, based off of this list and any other entities that may be brought forward, to kind of narrow that field down so that we can obviously condense that into.
We can have that done by Saturday for the next meeting, if you need it then.
Okay. Well, I know we will need to adjust the posted with it being a special meeting, so we can certainly do that if the board would like to do it.
Because,
I'm
sorry.
We have to do our superintendent evaluation.
We have to do the evaluation.
Right.
We also have some unfinished business that we have to take care of. So I think that would be pushing it in as much as we only have from 8 to noon.
Right. And so I would just ask that we take more time, and then between now and, say, the February meeting, we could try to do that, if that's okay. I mean, or we could, you know, obviously take up the information that we've got to handle in our the 25th meeting, and then maybe have another special call meeting just to focus on this particular aspect of discussion, if that's something the board would choose to do.
I'm sorry, when did you say the February meeting, on 24th?
Is it
24th?
Yes.
Okay. So can you give us a deadline for submission for our suggestions so that we can have it ready?
Well, I mean, I would think if everybody's agreeable to it, that we should certainly have it in at least 2 weeks prior to. So, I mean, that would give us
Our regular deadline date for
Yes.
board agenda items? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay.
And then also, what we can do is, after we have the determination and we kind of are able to filter down the different firms, is at that particular point we can evaluate cost structure and, of course, weigh out the pros and cons and the benefits of utilizing the different firms to see which will meet our needs as we move forward in this process. Is there any other questions or comments with respect to the item we're discussing, D? And thank you very much, Ms. Friedel, for this information. Appreciate that. If there's no other discussion for item D, then we will move to the next item on the agenda, which is item 16, which is information items, dates to remember. January the 24th, 2014 is the Lowndes County Spelling Bee at Columbus Middle School at 9 a.m. Also, on January the 24th, 2014, CMSD Reading Fair at Brandon Central Office here. On January the 25th, 2014, CMSD Board of Trustees Retreat at the Wingate beginning at 8 a.m., in which we will evaluate the superintendent, interim superintendent, as well as the other unfinished business that we had from our board retreat, as well as the grant application and other items that we will need to discuss at that particular meeting. Then looking at February the 13th, 2014, the Board of Trustees tour, school tour and meeting at Columbus Middle School, and we'll begin the meeting at 11:30 a.m. February the 17th, 2014, CMSD Student and Employee Holiday and Observance of President's Day. February the 18th, 2014, regular school board meeting here at Brandon Central Office beginning at 6 p.m. And of course, because of President's Day, this meeting has been adjusted to observe President's Day. And February the 25th, 2014, our next Parent Academy here at Brandon from 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. Now, board members, that concludes this first part of our agenda. I need a motion to go into closed determination for executive session.
So moved.
Item's been properly motioned. Any discussion? All in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Any opposed? It is unanimous. Thank you very much for being here tonight. We'll be out shortly to disclose what items we'll discuss in executive session.